Hello everyone, and welcome to this video. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. The game was developed by Namco Bandai and published by Nintendo and was originally released for the Wii U back in 2014, then re-released for the Switch. Is a game worth purchasing on the Switch or the Wii U however? Well, let's take a more in-depth look, shall we? The game doesn't really have a story mode or a plot in truth, and if there actually is one, I'm not exactly sure where it is and I never actually noticed it if it is actually there. The whole point of the game is just meant to be about relaxing and having fun, and I don't really think that an actual plot or story was ever really needed or considered for what this game actually offers you and what it's actually meant to be for. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. Let's say for example I woke up today at 5:30 AM. I went to do a crappy job which I hate for 8 to 9 hours, come home, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'll obviously have chores to do when I get back home, I'll need to eat something as well and get everything ready, and by the time all that's done, honestly I'm not too sure that I could sit down and stomach something say like Metal Gear Solid 4, where I have to essentially sit down for an hour, watch an hour's worth of cutscene, then if I'm lucky do about 20 to 30 minutes of actual gameplay, and then basically have to go through another hour's worth of cutscenes. I realistically think that by the 10-minute mark of the first cutscene, I'm probably going to fall asleep from being exhausted. Games like this, however, you can just jump straight in right away. You can either play on your own or go online against others, and have a quick and enjoyable game which is fun and just helps generally take the stress away. So many games these days just require a lot of time and attention from you, while games like this are essentially just quick and easy to get into, which are fun and enjoyable and that don't require a lot of you to spend hours upon hours learning new stuff for it. It's just there for you to pick up and play and enjoy right from the start. The character roster in the game is huge and you do get a whole mix of characters from various different games. You have Cloud from Final Fantasy, Ryu from Street Fighter, Sonic from Sonic the Hedgehog, Mega Man, Mario and the rest of his group, and then you get really random characters like Rob and Watch and Game Man. You get a large choice of characters to play as, but the only real downside to this is that I have to say they do all kind of feel the same and sort of handle the same as well. Characters like Sonic do handle differently from other characters like Yoshi, but at the same time all the controls are practically identical, and the feel of the characters does feel the same as well. I only really noticed an actual difference if I'm playing larger characters versus smaller ones, as the bigger characters move much more slowly while the smaller ones move a lot faster. That nitpicking aside, I was really happy with the roster as it's a good selection of characters from different games, but I do feel like that there was room for improvement. Thankfully, this is where mods come in. As we can see in this video, I've added Bowsette into the game. You can add other characters as well into the game, such as Tails and various others. If you're wanting to add more characters yourself, then just head over to GameBanana and take a look at what they have to offer. There's quite a selection, and I'm sure you'll find something that'll interest you to put into the game. The game's gameplay is very simplistic and easy to get into. It's essentially you versus another player, triple threat, fatal 4-way, or 8-player versus mode. Each one pretty much handles the same however, but with more characters on screen at any one time, the more challenging it does become. It also becomes more difficult as well depending on what stage you're playing on too, because you could essentially think that you're winning against 4 or 7 other players, only to find yourself accidentally being thrown off the stage and losing as a result. Combat itself is fairly simple to get into, and it doesn't require you to spend ages learning everything, as the controls are pretty easy, with you having the weak and strong attacks at the touch of an analog stick. I like this because it's quick and easy to get into, and pretty much straight from the start you can pick this up and just get going right away. It isn't something complicated that takes you hours to learn, say something such as Mortal Kombat 10, which requires you to spend ages learning one character's moveset. This is straightforward, easy and fun, and you can practically get the feel for everything in about 20 minutes if you're new to the game. The Wii U graphics for the game are nice. I don't feel like they're pushing any boundaries however, but they are still nicely done, and they're really colourful, with lots of action happening on screen at once. The Switch version of the game does have slightly better graphics, as the game got an update, but I still don't feel any wow factor when I look at the game's graphics themselves. To be honest, I don't really think the graphics for this game really look that much nicer than a PlayStation 2's graphics. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, as in a lot of cases it's best to just keep things nice and simple, unlike a lot of other games which claim they have high-res graphics and new graphical features. Then you come across things like this. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. The graphics are nice, they're clean, they're crisp, and if you do have the Wii version, then they still look good even today in 2019. And if you are playing on the Switch version, then you have slightly better graphics, and that's great. The point is that they do the job required of them for this game. They're nice, they're colourful, and they're good to look at. I just feel like they could have possibly been better. This is possibly the part where the game has a real big problem, as it really is a case of hit and miss with this game. You see, some stages in this game, such as the Star Fox levels, are absolutely fantastic. You have the ships flying around in aerial combat with explosions and dogfights going on in the background. You have other great stages such as the Haunted House level, which can be completely destroyed and then rebuilt. You have the Pilot Wings level, which is extremely colourful and very beautiful, with a lot going on around it. However, you then get other levels such as the Green Hill level from Sonic the Hedgehog. It's basically a curved platform with 2 more curved platforms above it and a windmill in the corner, and that's it. Now, considering that this is a Sonic the Hedgehog level, I was expecting something large and special like what we got with the Xenoblade stage. But no. It just seems like another missed opportunity. We could have had a massive level such as Spring Yard Zone with Dr. Robotnik flying around dropping bombs or hitting us with various objects, but instead we just get the Green Hill level and it's just terrible. It's also the exact same thing for other stages too. It just seems rather odd because you get these really great stages, but then you have these other smaller stages which almost feel as if they were thrown together quickly and then just put in at the last minute. I feel like there should be more to them, but there just isn't. If you're looking at this game and you're thinking about buying it for either your Wii U or the Switch, then realistically I would have to recommend that you get the Switch version, unless of course you're wanting to heavily modify the game, upon which point I would recommend that you get the Wii U version instead. The game's a good and enjoyable game, which you can get into fairly easily, and it doesn't demand a lot from you in return, and that's something that I really liked about this game. It's just a basic pick up, enjoy and have fun game. I do have to be honest with this however, as personally I do not like Nintendo, and generally I find that I don't like Nintendo games due to how kiddie they are, how they treat the gaming community, the whole censoring issue that Nintendo do, their entire treatment of Bowsette and that area in general, and various other things which I've just never really liked about the company. I find that most Nintendo based games which I do tend to enjoy end up being made by other developers, and this one doesn't seem to be any different, as I noticed that it was made by Bandai Namco, who are one of my favourite developers. I saw that the game had involvement from Namco, I saw the recent Bowsette mods which had shown up, and I was interested in giving them a try. I did so, and I loved it, and honestly, even without the Bowsette mods, I still think I would have ended up enjoying this game, because even today, I find if I'm just not in the mood to play anything heavy, and instead I just want to play something quick and enjoyable, I find myself either booting up this game, or Mario Kart 8, and playing as Bowsette in that. It's a good game which is a lot of fun either by yourself, against a computer, or with other friends in co-op mode, or online. It's also fairly cheap these days as well, depending on if you're getting it on the Switch or the Wii U, which is another reason why I recommend the game to anyone who wants something that's not super heavy, and just lets you relax and have fun and let you blow off some steam for the end of the day. It's a good game, and while it isn't perfect and it does have bits that it could improve upon, it's still a great game that I think a lot of people will enjoy. If you want to heavily mod the game, I recommend that you go over to GameBanana and check what they have to offer. If you're not interested in modding the game, then I recommend you just get the Switch version. You can mod that, however it's slightly more difficult, and depending on what you want from the game, you'll probably have to use 2 methods to inject the mods into it as well. It's a good game, modded or not, enjoyable, lots of fun, easy to get into, cannot recommend enough. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.